Hey, Mike Healy here, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this training. This is how to build your Texit business, which you probably see somewhere around the screen, wherever I have it on here. And I'm going to make a bold promise to you, okay? If you follow this training, I promise you that you're going to have some new skills that you may not have understood, how this all works, and so on. I'm going to show you the fastest way to create a six-figure income if you're interested. Now, there's no guarantee of incomes. If you don't do anything, you will not make any money. That is a fact, okay? And if you don't understand, you don't ever have to do anything. You don't ever have to introduce people. You don't have to be in the Texit affiliate program if you don't want to, okay? But if you want to understand how to get maybe free nodes by referring people, you can do that. They all do. They also do have an affiliate program that you should be aware of just in case. That way you can kind of see what you're doing. And there's a pay plan video that I did. It's real easy to understand. I did a little dry erase board drawing it out. Okay. Now, what I'm going to show you is this. Okay. We're going to just a little shock for you. Is if you've never done anything like this before, it may be slightly intimidating. But I want you to take a look at the picture of the guy I'm showing you right there that's covered in beer cans, bottle Absolute in there, looking absolutely hammered. Well, that was me, okay? And that was me many years ago. And I did not have a whole lot of business prospects on my radar. I was not, I never went to college or anything like that. But I ended up meeting people that encouraged me to do something like this, affiliate sales, networking, and that kind of thing, to the point that I learned stuff and I grew multiple companies in multiple teams and multiple companies in the tens of thousands. I've spoken in front of thousands of people, so I'm just kind of encouraging you to maybe pay attention to what I'm saying. Largest crowd I ever spoke to was about 11,000, which was awesome. I won a ton of trips. My wife Stacy and I of now 30 years we've been together, have earned all these trips and so on. And I typically also, by learning some of these simple skills that I'm going to show you here shortly, became one of the number one recruiters, enrollers, team builders in these things in different companies. Okay, so I've done this over and over and over, and I got a top, in lots of things. So I'm just kind of putting that out there because I want to just show you there's a reason to listen to me. Okay, so that's it. So that's all you're going to hear about me because this is about you. And if you will just please pay attention to what I share with you, I can show you the simple skills that will help you grow a business, get some nice checks coming in, because this Texit comp plan is the easiest one I've ever seen, not even joking, in my 30-year career. So I'm just going to show you how you can max this out. All right, so let's get right into the training. Now, here's the thing is you have to understand that with you're doing something like this, you're going to be dealing with people first and foremost. Your product is not Texit. Your product is not nodes. Your product is not digital currency. Your product is people, and you have to learn how to talk to people properly. Okay, that's what you have to do. Now, I want you to just kind of think about these things as I go through it. Maybe jot some notes down or rewatch this video. The number one thing that I see a lot of people get intimidated by when they start is they don't think that they are an expert or have any knowledge that would make sense for them to talk to people. Too many people sit around and do nothing because they're trying to learn everything first. Just trust me on this. Ignorance on fire will always beat knowledge on ice every day of the week. Okay. Now, how people make decisions, and this is psychology stuff right here, is people make a decision on something based 10% only on the speaker's credibility. Logic is only 20%, but people make the majority of all of their buying decisions based on emotion. So that should be a clue for you right there, right? What I learned how to do was be ignorance on fire, and I stayed ignorance on fire because people are asking themselves two questions when they're potentially participating, and it's, is it worth doing, and can I do it? So what I typically have always done is I've dumbed everything down, and I say that respectfully. I've dumbed everything down that anybody I show this stuff to believes they can do what I just did. Okay, that's what makes this work. All right. Now, what I want to show you here is this: it's nothing to just go out there and buy your own nodes. You get that, and you're good to go, right? But if you want to refer people because they do give you free nodes for referrals, is I'm going to show you how to properly invite people. I'm going to give you some things that, in my opinion, are pretty much written in stone. Now, understand this. that all of these principles are written in stone, but the delivery is maybe a little different than it used to be. Okay, we no longer really have to go do hotel meetings or one-on-one presentations. I love using the internet now. It's the same messaging, but I can expedite the numbers that I'm working much, much faster because of it. All right, so let's talk about this. So the first thing that, and I'm going to give you, I think there's 4 on this page right here, that I think are important when you're conveying your first initial invite, okay, is curiosity, which means, let me go back on that actually, curiosity, and this is where you stay, quote unquote, dumb on purpose, okay, you stay dumb on purpose and get somebody to want to look at what you have, right? You create a little sense of urgency, whether that's like, hey, I just got into this thing, I don't really understand it, but when a guy presented to me, it made so much sense. I'm like, what if this works? I mean, something along those lines. Scarcity, understand the psychology of scarcity. That's why people go to stand in line for tickets. That's why they put sales on stuff, right? That's why everything that you see in marketing is buy one, get one free. This deal's going to expire soon, right? It's scarcity, all right? And the number one point I will tell you, and never ever forget this one, is enthusiasm. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Just always remember this because it'll help you. It's not the words that are in the song, it's how you sing it. It's not the words, it's how you sing it. And if you learn to say things with enthusiasm and act enthusiastic, people will try to figure out what the heck you're all fired up about. Okay? So if I, as an example, if I said, hey, I got this crypto thing I'm doing, and people are going to make some money. You in? Right? How you're like, pass, right? But if I said, dude, I just saw something that reminded me of Bitcoin, and I remember what happened to some of these guys way back when making money in Bitcoin. I couldn't help it. I had to look, and I'm totally blown away. You got to check this out. Can you see the difference? The difference is the messages sucked the second time, probably worse than the first one, but it was how I sang the song. I used enthusiasm to just introduce people. So here's the other thing. Remember, and this is a fact, because I've done this for 30 years on a high level, is that the majority of people enroll or get people to join their team or sponsor, whatever you want to call it. The majority of people sign up the majority of their personals in the first 30 to 60 days of their career. They could be with a company for 5 years, and they will assign 80% of those personals up in the first 30 to 60 days. Do you know why? It's because it was enthusiasm that got those people's attention to take a look in the first place. If you decide that you want to sit back and be, knowledge on ice until you think you have it all figured out, those of us who will stay dumb on purpose to go make waves will build a big business. That's all it is. I'm just promise you, if you'll take my advice on this, it works. So use curiosity, urgency, scarcity, and enthusiasm with your invite. Real simple. All right, let's go to the next one here. So I call these also the rules of recruiting, kind of the principles that have worked for me forever. All right. First one is this: recruiting is a process, not an event. 99% of the people that you introduce to something, whether it's an invite, website, whatever, and I'll show you some tools I'm going to give you here in a minute, their reaction is not going to necessarily just say, sign me up. It happens occasionally, but in most cases, it's something that just happens. The other thing is don't become outcome focused, all right? Become process focused, because I've learned that if I just do the process over and over, if you master the process, the event, which would be the sign up, happens. The outcome always happens if you stay focused on the process. This is something I learned a while ago, and I never forgot it, all right? The other thing, which I said kind of in a roundabout way, is learn to always be the messenger, not the message. You are just going to be a good traffic cop, okay? I gave everybody the webpage to use that has some simple videos on it. I'll show you how to get that if you don't have it at the end of this video, okay? Or at the end of this video. And what I'm going to tell you is if you learn to be the messenger, not the message, that also alleviates any it bothers me to get a no scenario, right? I don't care. And I tell people I don't care. I literally tell them, I say, look, I really believe this is going to be big. I just wanted to let you know because if you knew about it and you didn't tell me, I'd probably be pretty ticked off. Okay, that's how I kind of lay it out there. But I learned to do this, and then this is what I mastered. This is one of the most important points right here: is learn to say less to more people. Learn to say less to more people. That is why I win all the contests because I don't try to answer every single question, even though I may know the answer. I go back to do they think that they can do it because people are always asking them, can I do this? But if I have an answer to every single thing they ask, then they think they have to be like me. They have to be an expert, which I don't want to be. And I want to convey that ignorance on purpose to that person so that they don't have to think they have to do that. But what I do use is if somebody has a legitimate question that might just get them over the hump, I say, hold on a second, I'll get you in the Telegram group. Hold on a second, I think I saw a video on that. Hold on a second, I'll get you on the phone with somebody. Okay? I'm always redirecting questions that I think are legitimate questions to tools and so on. That's how I answer everything. That's how you should learn how to do that, is purposefully be enthusiastic, but stay dumb on purpose, okay? Because it still will work for you faster, right? So learn to always say less to more people. One of the other things, keep it simple. If you complicate this thing, if you start to go in through how Bitcoin works and how cryptocurrency was invented in 2010 by Yagamoto, Ashihobo, that kind of thing, not going to work. All right, learn to keep it simple all the time. Is it worth doing and can I do it? I already answered that one for you. And then probably the biggest thing that I could give you in the tip of all these, because all of these mesh together in this last point, is what we like to call the daily method of operation. All right. Now, if you just want to have a part-time income with this thing, make a few bucks here and there whenever, then this training you could stop right now and just turn it off. All right. Because it's not what I'm not focused on you. What I'm focused on is the people who want to make some decent money, you know, max out the comp plan for $3,000 a week, that kind of thing. And it's not out of the realm of possibility because it's a simple comp plan. But again, if you work the numbers work. If you say less to more people, you will have success. But I believe that if you have a small structure of a daily method of operation, then it's going to really jump for you. Okay. So let me go through this. Whoever tells the story the most win. What I found that with a number that worked for me was when I did approximately 5 invites per day. Okay. When I first, one of the businesses I made over $1 million with, in direct marketing, direct selling, networking, whatever you call it. All I did was I had a job. I only had one job in the last like 30 years, but I was a personal trainer, and all I would do is I would sit on a little stationary bike in between clients they had like 15-minute windows, and I'd just make phone calls and ask somebody if I could send them a website to look at. Make a phone call, send it, and I would just make check marks. Okay. And then if I took my kids to, like, my boys, they had played football all the time and they were in Little League, I'd take them to football practice and I would sit in a lawn chair, watch football, and then I'd make phone calls and ask people, hey, do you care if I send you a website to take a look at? Can I, send you a website to look at? Can I send you a website to look at? And I would just make these little hash marks on a yellow pad. And it was approximately, I went from basically 5 to 20, depending on how big of a contest or what kind of comp plan they had. And I think that this is a solid number that most people can hit with literally less than 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day, and you can be done. If you want to stay consistent with it, if you want to build something that's legitimate that pays you good money, okay? So if you get 5 invites a day times 5 days a week, that's 25 new contacts of inviting people to take a look. 25 contacts a week times 4 weeks, that's 100 contacts in a 30-day period. And if you only close 6%, I'm going to use 6% as a math number here. I typically, and most people, remember, you can't tell the duds from the studs, the zeros from the heroes. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Just trust me on this one. But most of you will have a higher closing ratio than 6%, but I'm going to use this for easy math. 100 contacts that you made, no idea, no prejudging, that close 6% would give you 6 new people that bought nodes. If those 6 people bought only 1 node, based on the comp plan, based on the pay plan, the affiliate program pay plan that Texit has, you would have 3 nodes on your left and properly placed 3 nodes on your right. That'd pay you $1,000. If that's all you did that month, you just added $1,000. I mean, that's half of what a lot of people's mortgage is for literally making a few phone calls, inviting people to take a look at your website, right? And let's say some of these people see it in a little bigger picture because they get a little more, they start to watch some of the Zooms, they get part of it. But let's say 6 new reps at 3 node minimum, that'd be $3 grand, because you have, if they each got the 3 packs, you'd be getting like boom, boom, boom. You got 9 left, 9 right. That triggers the 3,000 for the week. So it's real simple. Like, screenshot this right here. But if you stick to those and stay consistent, if you stay consistent with these numbers, the numbers work. I promise. If you stick to the numbers work. Now, a lot of people go, hey, I don't know who to talk to. Where am I going to come up with that 100 people? I promise you that if you don't prejudge people and you just learn and make sure that you get married to the fact that you're the messenger, not the message, and you don't care. Like, if I invite somebody to the gym, I don't care if they lose weight and come to the gym, right? I say, I like that gym. That's it. Like, if I say, hey, I love eating at this one pizza place up the street, I don't care if they eat pizza there. I just did it. But guess what? There's plenty of people that have come back and said, man, I went and got that pizza you recommended. It's fantastic, right? Okay. You can find, if you look at your phone and you don't prejudge people, you never know who's praying on their hands and knees right now for an opportunity to supplement their income. Everybody's really starting to get up to speed, knowing that crypto is where it's at, okay? Learning how that digital currency is where everything's moving. And this is a great place to get educated as well on where everything is going, okay? But you can go through your Facebook list, you can go through your phones, you can go all that. Trust me, you have plenty of people to talk to. Just work through it. Now, one of my favorite things to do is the invite. All right. Now, with the invite, I got a good friend, Terry Tillert, that in the Telegram group has been putting out some great, what we call swipe files. Swipe files are basically short scripts of how to invite people, both on the phone, in person, or even just make posts on them, right? And if you want, go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm doing this. I'm trying to invite people to take a look at this website. Make me a 30-second script. And it will kick it out for you, and it will be fantastic. And just read that script with enthusiasm. If you read it with enthusiasm, you're going to get somebody to take a look at it, okay? So my initial goal is just to, I typically, what I do, I go old school. I use a yellow pad. I write down names, and then these are people that I maybe was like want to talk to right away, right? This is my gold list right here. And then as soon as I call them, what I typically do is, you can see the little arrow down there on the microphone, is I usually just leave a recorded message. The reason is I've gotten recruited into companies because people have done this exact thing with me. One of the companies that I got invited into was to take a look at crypto for the first time in a big way. A person left an audio message that said, hey, I don't know what you're doing with your money, but my wife and I were into some gold and silver. We got some stock stuff, and we really found one in the crypto space that we're diversifying with. That's the message this guy left me, with a little enthusiasm. He added a few little things to it, and that curiosity of playing that message and hearing his enthusiasm, I said, hey, well, show me something. And he sent me a video to watch. Boom. That's all I'm telling you to do. Again, it doesn't matter the words in the song. It matters how you sing it. You just randomly come out there. If you focus on what's in it for the person too, when you're leaving the message, say, hey, I really do think your family could benefit from this, or I know, maybe it's somebody say, hey, I might have found a way for you to pay for your kid's school, stuff like that. And you use the audio to get that enthusiasm and say, hey, and I typically, what I do is I say, so I've left a message here, and you can see I left about a 57-second message on this one I sent to somebody, gave him a quick rundown, and then I said, I'm just going to send you a website. Take the time to look at the first video on there. It's like 47 seconds long, and it's the the 700% growth one on that page, which should get somebody's attention. And then we got the rest of them on that page. If you just do that 5 times a day, while you're sitting in your car, during lunch breaks, whatever. Find that little window that you can do that, make those check marks, enjoy your day and celebrate it. All right. So from a personal standpoint, that's the majority of stuff I just covered. Okay. You go do those things. If you do those tasks, you will get people involved. They will start to get get people's attention, and you will get signups. I promise. Because if you do the same thing over and over and over, eventually a ratio appears. But when it used to be 1 out of 10 people joined you, and you get your little rhythm going, and you enjoy the process because you know the outcome is going to happen, then you can move on to working with the team. Now, the problem with working with the team is this: most people, once they've done the tasks to get people in, they stop, put their manager hat on, and they don't grow a business. I never stop person recruiting because the new blood is the lifeblood. But also, real important is, if you want to build a team, you give them a tool like I'm showing you right now. That's why I make these videos, so that you don't have to know anything. You just say, hey, watch Mike's video on this training, follow through with what he's explaining. You'll be able to go out and do this thing, okay? Because the secret to building a team is this simple. Get a large group of people to do a few easy tasks over a sustained period of time. And all we have to do is this: we have to define what an easy task is and a relatively sustained period of time. An easy task is simple. An easy task, which I'm teaching you right now, is the invite to look at material. That is the only thing that truly matters, is to take the time to get someone with enthusiasm, I hope I said that enough, with enthusiasm, to look at something. That's it. You're just trying to get somebody to look at something. And once you've done that, your work is done. In my opinion, they may have some questions. I do some follow-ups, yes, obviously, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I do it over a sustained period of time. If people would just commit to doing a simple activity on a repetitive basis, they will win. I'll give you a story, and I'm moving on, and we're basically done here. The story I had is, I was at the Top Money Earners convention in a company I made millions of dollars with, that I was on a cover of their magazine. And I happened to be there at this big top leaders event with 300 of the top money earners in the company. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this. And I ran around the room, and I asked everybody that I knew was really making money, like 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, $300,000 a month. I ran up to them. I said, hey, I got a little notepad. I said, what's the number one thing you'd attribute to your success? And they wrote it, and I would write down the first thing that came out of their mouth. And boom, boom, boom. And I did this with maybe about 30 people. I just boom, boom, boom. A couple hours took me to go through and have a little, obviously, conversation. But what came out was the very, very big important thing. It wasn't what website they were using, because a lot of them did use different websites. Wasn't the CD or tool or cassette tape they were handing out. Everybody was using different ones. It wasn't the team that they were on. You know what it was? The number one thing by far that everybody that made sense, that worked, was their consistency. They stayed consistent. In fact, the number one money earner in that company I talked to, he was getting ready to get on a bus, and I asked him this question: what's the number one thing you'd attribute your success? And he said this without missing a beat as he was walking up to get on the steps. He said, oh, that's easy. I swing the bat as many times as I have to. Occasionally I get a hit. Every once in a while I hit one out of the park. And I was like, dude, that is gold. And when I started to understand, this was 20 years ago that I heard that, and I wrote that down. I still have the notes to this day on it, okay? So if you learn to do the easy tasks, which I just showed you, keep them simple, and for a sustained period of time, you will build something. And here's the other thing, is the myth of motivation. Everybody's like, well, I got to be motivated. You don't need to be motivated. You need to be inspired. All you have to do if you want to build a big business is you figure out what your goals are, what inspires you to do everything, okay? Like when I first started my career, my inspiration was food, okay? I wanted to get out of the bar business. I was a broke alcoholic bartender and bouncer, and I wanted to get out of it. That was my inspiration. A couple years later, or a year or two later, I get married, and my wife and I have a little beautiful little girl. Guess what my whole focus was now? Putting food in her mouth, getting her fed, not just mine, okay? Now, the inspiration is not necessarily the same as motivation. I'm motivated to take the right activities, but motivation comes also in doing the daily tasks. If I truly believe, that those tasks I do will have a correct outcome, and they do. This stuff is that I'm teaching you is tried and true. Okay, so rather than motivate people to increase productivity, create systems to increase productivity, and the motivation naturally follows. If you understand that simple principle, that you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to know how crypto works, you don't have to be a digital currency moniker or whatever you want to call a mogul. What you have to do is become enthusiastic, keep your dreams in front of you, and use tools to answer the questions. And you just work the numbers, say less to more people, say less to more people, use some swipe files, just be enthusiastic, say less to more people. You're going to grow something that is going to scare the neighbors, and everything like that. So hopefully you got a lot out of this. I do appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the other videos. Thanks.